What is going down, my YouTube family? It is your boy Zary from the XMG coming at you on Monday night to bring you a video of the top 10, my top 10 kits that just wowed me, that just killed kits that are built very, very well. The character might not be good, but the kit itself is just built fantastic. But before we get into that, if you are not part of the XMG family, you should be part of that family. Go ahead, click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on good stuff coming your way. For all the family members out there, thank you so much for the support. We are gaining every single day. We are up to 908 subscribers, shooting for that goal of 1,000 subscribers. Question coming up in the end of the video, so you can enter that contest. So without further ado, let's jump into number 10 on kits that are just really, really well built. Now, this may be a shock to some people, but number 10 is Robin Bad. Robin Bad comes in at number 10 because his kit is actually built very well. I don't really care for him as a character, but when you look at his kit, for what he was meant to do, it's built very, very well. Take a look at his basic ability, 260 physical damage, and it can't be dodged. That is crazy. Can't be dodged in this dodge crazy meta, or not meta, but game. It's crazy. Also, critical hit decreases the target turn meter by 20%. Absolutely phenomenal. Decreasing turn meter by 20% on a basic. So you can stack critical chance on him if you want, so you're decreasing the turn meter pretty much every turn. Second ability, 270 physical damage. Robin Bad has a 40% chance to gain crit chance increase for 2 turns, so it plays into his basic ability where he can decrease that turn meter by gaining the critical chance advantage. Then Cunning Fox gains a crit damage increase and applies it to all allies for 2 turns. Robin Bad gains a damage increase for 2 turns, and all allies recover 20% of their turn meter. Huge. His kit is based off of crit chance, so you can just pump the crit chance on him, and then his third ability gives him a crit damage increase. Just really, really well built, really well thought out. He's also providing 20% turn meter to all allies and a damage increase, so if he doesn't crit, he's still doing more damage. And then his passive ability, he has a 25% to counterattack enemies, plus a 5% chance for each living human in the party. You put him under a Soleus lead, he's already getting counterattack chance. Then he's giving himself in an all-human team another 50% chance. So and it can't be dodged, and he has a chance to decrease turn meter. Just a really, really well-built kit coming in from Robin Bad, and it really is kind of overlooked. So that is why he comes in at number 10 for me. Coming in at number 9 is Illyria. Now, Illyria is overlooked. You get her early in the game, but if you were just to blindly read her kit, it is actually really, really good. So let's get started. 190 magic damage to an enemy, inflicts a potency decrease for 2 turns. Now, not an overwhelmingly good basic, but she's a healer and she does something more than just deal damage on a basic, and a potency decrease definitely beneficial, especially on a Tromgar or somebody like that. So, and it's for 3 turns. It's not like it's 1 turn or 2 turns, 3 turns. And her ability 2, mass healing, 350% to all allies, magic damage. Really just a really good, nice little strong little heal. Deals 350 magic damage to an enemy, heals the ally with the lowest health by 50% of the damage dealt. She's not going to do a crazy amount of damage, but she is a healer. She has the mass heal with her A2. Her A3 comes in, and it has the soft heal on the lowest health ally. Just really good for a healer. And then she's giving herself magic damage for each living elf in the party and 25% more. And her heals are based off that. So just a really good passive ability. She is just a really good healing kit where she can put some potency down. She has the mass heal on her A2. Then she comes back with the Starfall, healing the lowest ally. So she kind of has that single target heal as well. So just a really, really well-built kit. if you were just to look at the kit. Number 8, Count Delman. Newer character of the game, but his kit is just really, really cool, and I just really like the way that it's built. So when you look at it, it is 270 physical damage to an enemy, 70% chance to increase the cooldown of a random ability by 1 turn. That can be really, really detrimental. And 70% chance, that's a really, really good chance to land that. Double potency tenacity check, I understand all that, but 70% off the bat on a basic ability. That's pretty nice. I like that. Mark of Death. 380 physical damage is his A2. Inflicts the Mark of Death for 3 turns. And what it does is it allows you to attack that character. They go have like a photon on them. They cannot go invisible, so they can't dispel it by going invisible. So that is really sweet. And then damage inflicted to the target is increased by 15%. Wow. Just a really, really cool move. Really like that. And, you know, not only photon 3 turns, but then it increases the target's damage inflicted by 15%. A3, Serpent Cunning. Count Delman gains a dodge increase. We all know what dodge increases do to this game. They just really, really are irritating. And it's for 2 turns, but then he recovers 25% of his turn meter, and all allies gain a crit damage increase for 2 turns. Pretty special there. You know, 25% of his own turn meter. He can gain a dodge increase. It can be used on the first turn, and then crit damage increase to all his allies. Especially in a elf party, this is just really, really well thought out. You know, they're so dependent on crit chance under the Nightingale lead, under the Feline lead, and then he comes in where Sharp can give him the crit chance increase. He can come in and give them the crit damage increase. So just really, really well thought out move here. And then his passive ability, Count Delman gains 500 penetration. If Feline is an ally, Count Delman and Feline increase their physical damage by 15%. If Wonderlua is an ally, Count Delman and Wonderlua increase their critical chance by 15%. So what I like about this move is incorporating 2 of the better elves. You know, Nightingale is still the shining jewel of the elf faction, but then here comes Count Delman having synergy with not only Feline, but also Wonderlua. Just really, really cool. And he's increasing his critical chance if you run him with Wonderlua. And then going back to his A3, you have his crit damage increase. So he's just building his crit chance and building his crit damage, giving you a photon, and can increase the cooldown of a random ability at 70% pop on his basic. Number 7, Zira. Zira is, we're just going to start with our leadership. I mean, the screen popping up now, it just, potency and maximum health of all allied orcs increased by 20%. The best leadership for the orcs. When the battle starts, all enemies receive a tenacity decrease, armor decrease, damage decrease, and buff immunity for 1 turn. Right then and there, her kit is amazing. But the best leadership really screws up the AI, just a really impressive move overall. But then going back to our A1, 320 physical damage to an enemy, 70% chance to gain a damage increase for 2 turns. You use your basic quite a bit, and she's giving herself chance to do more damage by just using her basic. Love that. 300% physical damage to all allies, so we have an AoE, 60% chance to inflict heal block. If the target is bleeding, applies buff immunity for 2 turns. 2 of the worst things you could possibly get in the game on an AoE. You have heal block and bleed, or not bleed, buff immunity if they are bleeding is what I meant to say. So 2 of the worst debuffs you can possibly get in the game coming off 1 move. Fantastic. And then her A3, Crimson Claws. You're attacking somebody 3 times, each dealing 230 physical damage. If the attack hit a shield, it applies an armor decrease. If all 3 strikes or attacks hit, you apply bleeding for 2 turns and ability block for 1. Wow. She just is crazy on the debuffs. You really got to put potency on her. But all in all, I mean, you're putting bleeding on, which goes into her A2. Her leadership is out of control. She's putting ability block. potentially. She's putting heal block, potentially. She's putting debuff immunity, potentially. So all in all, just she's giving you everything you don't want. And her passive ability, not my favorite, but the rest of her kit just make up for it. Increasing lifesteal by 25%. If Zero dodges an attack, she recovers 20% of her turn meter. That is the best part about it, is that she can recover her own turn meter, and if Ranth is on the battlefield, she receives the same buffs. So, in a nutshell, she is just the debuff queen, and she can really, really screw you up. Number 6. Instructor Goram. Instructor Goram just has a really, really good kit. So let's start with his A1. 240 physical damage. Calls in Adam to assist if he's on the battlefield. If the hit is critical, Adam gains taunt for 1 turn. So any goblin faction, you are called in to assist with your basic all the time. Here he comes, throwing his basic meat at this guy. And if he crits, Adam gains taunt. He makes the worst viable, extremely viable, and it all does with his A1. Huge. All he's got to do is land a crit, and it can happen on an assist, which is even more impressive. His Piggy Cry summons half-pink henchmen with 60% of Goram's health and his damage. Now, the Piggy henchmen are super cool because, you know, he's calling them in, and you're going to see the assist. They can do just assist and assist and assist the more you get, but then they have their second ability where they could daze or stun. AoE. Huge. Really plays into Dr. Frank. Just really, really well thought out move kit. Also really helps out with General Murdoch. So just, and the survivability of your team as a whole with they can't counter, especially if you're in a mirror match. Just all in all, just his half Piggy Hemshin really bring a lot to the table. And then get down to work, 330 physical damage. Then he calls in his half Piggy Henchman to assist and restores 1 turn of a random ability to all of them. So if you have 7, they're all coming. It's crazy. And the thing is that you're reducing their cooldowns by 1, so that means they can get out those stuns and everything quicker. And then what just really tops it off for me is increases critical damage by 40%. And an additional 5% for each living half-pink henchman in the party. So the more you drop your half-pink henchman, the more crit damage he's going to do. And as you can see, you just load up with crit chance on this guy and go to town. You make him fast and crit chance, and that's all you got to do. So he's dropping those half-picky henchmen, getting those crits, making Adam keep that taunt up all match, and then just mowing people down with his crit damage. Just a superior kit. Really, in my opinion, is the MVP of that goblin faction. Just without him, they are not as good. And he has synergy with Adam. He has synergy with Dr. Frank. Just what you want, and you really, really a must for a goblin team. Number 5, Tromgar. Tromgar, we all know Tromgar. I mean, what can you say? But he is number 5 on my list because if he did not stun on his A1, his kit wouldn't be as good. But he does, so I can't hold that against him. But 35% chance to stun. If that was higher, he would be higher on the list. But 35% chance to stun, still pretty good. Then, his taunting mechanism gains battle stance, defensive stance. But he gains counterattack, playing into him stunning, just super well designed. Then you have the second wind where he's removing all debuffs from himself. He is a defender, and a defender that not only gives himself regeneration, removes every single debuff on him, and then recovers 10% of his health. Wow. You go up against a more Doom, let's say, and he just nails you with all those debuffs. Wow. You know, you can clear them all. You know, as long as you don't got that ability block or that goes away. But you understand what I'm saying. It's just, what a superb A3 for a defender. Passive ability. He increases physical armor, and then he increases his physical damage. So he's like a hybrid warrior defender, but just really, really good character. Really impressive. And then he does have a leadership, which is pretty good. For each debuff an allied orc inflicts on the enemy, all orcs recover 5% health. And that comes into play because he's giving him both potency and tenacity. So, you know, running Azira, even though she's not in the lead, she can still dish out a ton of debuffs. Hard Orc, ton of debuffs. Corcoran, debuffs. So it plays into the Orc's move kit very, very well. But you have a tank that is removing all of his debuffs, healing himself, giving himself regeneration on top of the heal, stunning on his basic, giving himself counter chance on a taunt. Ah, beauty. Number 4, my boy, Major Shot. I will say this till I go down. One of the most underrated move kits in the game, and Murdoch's now in the game, and people are starting to see how good he is. Starting with his A1, 220 physical damage, and he's 60% of physical damage to all other enemies. So he has an AoE on his basic. You're countering all the time with a basic, so just really, really good. Put some damage on him, and it really helps. A2, 230 physical damage, and then he switches to battle mode. This effect cannot be prevented or removed. Using this ability again will cancel battle mode. Using this ability while in battle mode has a 70% chance to stun enemies for 1 turn. So another AoE on his A2, but this one has a chance to stun. Stun takes him out of the battle for 1 turn. Really can't complain. Then Flashbang inflicts blindness for 1 turn and heal block for 2 turns on all enemies. Yes, you have the potency tenacity check, I understand that. But you put blind on a Tromgar, and when he has his taunt up, he's worthless. Does nothing. He's whiffing every single time. Heal block. Ugh, annoying. I said, debuff immunity, heal block, the 2 worst abilities you can have, I think, in the game. And then blindness. Any attack, especially the AI, they are going to misplay it, and they'll use their AoEs, they'll use their powerhouse moves, and they're not landing crap, so that is huge. And then his passive ability restores 1 turn to a random ability at the start of a turn, and you can't ask for much more than that. Now, his abilities are on high cooldowns, that is why he's not higher on the list, but AoE on basic, in a goblin, unbelievable. In a goblin team where he's assisting all the time, unbelievable. AoE, A2, with the ability to stun. AoE on 3 with heal block and blind. And then his passive, every time he goes, he's restoring random cooldown on an ability. So his leadership sucks. That's just terrible, so I'm going to pretend it's not there. Deals 25% more damage if there are any members of the order in the enemy party. Upon landing a critical hit, goblins have a 50% chance to increase the cooldown of a random ability. It's not going to be used with Murdoch, so, but that's what it was. But just really, really solid kit. Really, really plays well into the survivability of your goblins. Plays well into the overall move kit of the goblins, and he just really, really has a phenomenal move kit. Alright, number 3, Little Baddie. Little Baddie. Love her. Another defender. She's not going to be the last one. So, call me a homer. Don't care. Look at this move kit. A1. 80% chance to decrease target's turn meter by 25%. Damage is kind of low, but 80% chance to decrease a turn meter on a tank. When under a Soleus Leave, you have the chance to counter. Huge. Absolutely huge. Then, Shield Throw, 260 physical damage, also attacks 2 random allies, dealing 130 physical damage. Dealing damage with this ability removes 1 buff, and then you gain taunt. So you have a mini AoE, and then you're dispelling if it lands, and you're gaining taunt. Absolute phenomenal taunting mechanism. Then you have a 30% chance to inflict blind for 2 turns on her A3, but it's an AoE on a tank. Really good. Putting on blindness, fantastic, but it's only at 30%. If this was higher, she could have been 2 or 1 on my list. Then her passive ability, she is surviving a fatal blow. How much more could you ask from a tank's kit? You're staying alive, you're getting shield back, so then you could possibly get healed back up. It only happens once, but this could really keep you in the battle. You're clearing all status effects, negative or positive. Just super good, fantastic passive ability. Love it a lot. She just has a really, really solid move kit for a defender. Just, it is a thing of beauty. Turn meter decrease on A1. Dispel on A2. With the taunt mechanism. The chance to increase or put blind on at 30% with an AoE. And then surviving a fatal blow for a defender. Number 2, Hard Orc. Reading his move kit, you really can't ask for much more. Inflicts bleed on his basic for 2 turns. Plays into Zira's move kit. Absolutely phenomenal. So she can put on that ability block or debuff immunity, whatever it is. But having someone else in the party that can put bleed on for 2 turns, wow. Just really, really good. Also pairs good with a Snorri or a Revol. Just really good move with pretty decent damage on a basic. A2, 200% of physical damage to all enemies with a 70% chance to inflict ability block for 2 turns. 70% chance for ability block for 2 turns. On an AoE, that could just screw your whole team. Devil's Horns gains cheat death, regeneration, damage increase, and applies it to 4 allies for 2 turns. Again, that could just be phenomenal. He is the ultimate support character, in my opinion, in this game. Just hands down the best support character. And he removes 1 debuff from 4 random allies at the start of his turn. So every time he goes, he's dispelling your team, all allies, you know, just wow. Wow. Increases the survivability of your team. Bleed on his basic plays into Zira's leadership. Has a chance on his A2 to inflict ability block for 2 turns. That is a long time. Then, not only is he giving your team survivability, giving him regeneration, soft heals, damage increase, 4 allies for 2 turns, and then when he's at it, when he goes, I'm just going to remove a debuff. He's just really, really well built kit, and it is awesome. And my number 1 best kit is Kinley. Again, call me a homer. I don't care. Love me some defenders. But Kinley just absolutely blew me away. The more I think about it and the more I use him, he is just built so well to be a defender. A1, 170 physical damage. This attack deals 50% more critical damage. If the target has full health, this attack is guaranteed to land a critical hit. Basic? Meh. Whatever. Not the best, but it only gets better. 50% chance to apply a tenacity to increase for 3 allies for 1 turn on his A2, dealing 300% physical damage. Really, really a plus there. Really like that. But look at this taunting mechanism. Gains taunt, dodge increase for 2 turns, removes 2 debuffs, and recovers 25% of his health. A dodge increase on a tank that he's giving himself while he's taunting, then removing 2 debuffs and recovering 25% health could be the best taunting mechanism in the game. I know it's cookie cutter to a lot of the other tanks, but what makes that so much different is this dodge increase. That dodge increase can frustrate the absolute piss out of you. It's so much better than the armor increase you see or the tenacity increase you see. Dispelling himself again and then recovering 25% of his health. Then his passive, 20% of his health at the start of his turn. You just load him straight up with health. That's all you need. And he's just going to keep himself alive by doing nothing but going. And then his leadership. All allied pandas gain 30% of their max health. And they recover 5% health for each critical hit dealt or each buff applied. So think about that. You have Rin the Unseen. Gives herself debuffs. Or debuffs. Buffs. Lake gives himself buffs. Patriarch Chi gives the whole team buffs. Ember, I think she gives buffs. I don't know. That's a good one. I'll have to look into that. But then Master Duo gives himself buffs, and then he gives regeneration to the whole team. Hilda, she buffs herself when she taunts. So the panda team is very buff heavy. That's pretty big. And it's pandas recover 5% health for each critical hit dealt and each buff applied. So, when Rin does her buff, she's only giving herself counterattack and damage, but all the pandas are recovering 5% health for doing that. Lake, he's putting on 3 or 4 different buffs on himself. That's 20% health going back. Patriarch Chi puts his armor increase up on 5 people, 25% health going back in. Rin, Ember, any of those, any of those people do that AoE damage and get 5 critical hits. That's 25% more health coming your way. So just an absolutely fantastic leadership and just really, really overall good character. Now that is just my personal top 10, my personal where I rank them in kits that just I think are really, really well built and really, really well designed. And you know what? You could put Zira at number 1 and I wouldn't bitch. You could put Goram at number 1 and you could make a strong argument. This is just my opinion. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Question to enter the giveaway, as always we do this, is tell me your character that has the best move kit, designed move kit. It could be someone on this list, it might not be someone on this list, but let me know what you think. Who is your best designed move kit in the game? So that is what I got for everybody. Please remember, if you're just finding me for the first time and you're liking what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button. We are so close to 1K subs. I can't even believe it. So that is where we are. For all my family members out there, you all mean the world to me. I love you so much. Thank you for the support. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.